What's up, Steeler fans? Welcome back to State of the Steelers. I'm your host, Daniel J. Well, Steelers kind of doing some unpredictable things here recently. Most recently, signing Isaac Sumalo for a 3-year, $24 million deal late in the evening. I think it was Saturday night. Who predicted that? Well, today's show we're going to try to predict the next two moves that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, ring that notification bell. That way you're notified of all our daily segments. Don't forget, guys, last season we gave away a regular season game, two regular season game day tickets to the Las Vegas Raiders versus Pittsburgh Steelers Christmas Eve game to a lucky subscriber. We'll be doing the same this year, so make sure you ring that, you subscribe. That way you're notified of all that, and you're ready to rock and roll once that contest begins. But with that being said, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Let's get into it. Welcome to the huddle. So with the signing of Isaac Sumalo, former guard of the Philadelphia Eagles last season, the Pittsburgh Steelers now have about a little bit over $11 million left in cap space. You know, there's a lot of question marks as to what the team's going to do with that money. A lot of folks are, thinking maybe perhaps they're going to bring in Bud Dupree. Maybe perhaps there's another corner that's out there or another safety that they're going to be bringing in. Well, today what we're going to be talking about is I'm going to try to predict their next two moves. And the first move that I think they're going to do is they're going to solidify that outside linebacker position for the future by extending Alex HighSmith. I think that he did a fantastic job last season. He racked in over 14 sacks, was a force on the opposite side of TJ Watt when he was healthy. And when he wasn't, granted, I understand that he probably wasn't, he wasn't as great as he was when TJ Watt was on the opposite side of him. However, he was battling injury of his own. And, he still racked up 14 and a half sacks. I think he did. He had last year was a great jump for him as a outside linebacker, and I think he did a great job. I think he bought himself an extension and bought himself a fantastic payday. I think it's important for the Pittsburgh Steelers to do this now. If they wait until after the season, and let's just say he racks in 16, 17, who knows? That paycheck's going to go up even that much higher next season, and that may be out of the Steelers, playbook or paycheck at that point. So let's lock him in now when he probably will sign for a relatively lower contract, get him locked in early, hometown discount, things of that nature, and solidify the edge guys for the years to come. I think that's the move to make. After that, I think that the next important move is going to be re-sign and bring back Terrelle Edmunds. The Pittsburgh Steelers wanted to utilize the three safety set last season with DeMonte Casey, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Terrelle Edmunds. They didn't really get an opportunity to utilize it in the manner that they wanted to, especially early on with the injury to DeMonte Casey. However, once he did come back and once they got into the flow of things, we did kind of see it towards the latter end of the season. And it did seem to work, when it was utilized, especially when you were going up against, favorable down and distance where you were, could predict what the offense was going to do, and especially in predictable passing situations. And so I think the Steelers want to continue to utilize that set. I think they want to utilize that with a Terrelle Edmunds. Terrelle Edmunds is a freak athlete. He's very fast, very big at the same time, and very strong. If it wasn't for the fact that his ball catching skills weren't the best, if he were able to overcome that and come down with a few more picks, he would be a very, very good safety in this league. However, unfortunately for him, he's got the ball tracking abilities maybe aren't there like Minka, and neither are the hands. And so he is what he is, but we did see what we saw when it came to the defense without him. This past season, he did go down for a couple of games, and, we saw that Trey Norwood was a liability over the top. We saw that, the defense wasn't the same without him. Minka Fitzpatrick was having to what appeared to be, covering up for the other safeties, thus lessening his effectiveness on the defense. And so I think that it would be important to bring him back having a healthy KZ would also, help this defense go to the next level. Just think about it this way, guys. When it comes to this defense, I think this is going to be a top-notch defense. You have the middle linebacker position completely overhauled, and I think that there's the possibility, and more than likely, the Pittsburgh Steelers are also going to attack that position in the draft. Probably top 4 picks. I would probably think somewhere in the maybe the second round, maybe the third round is when they go with the middle linebacker. Um, Somebody that they can bring in to take the place of Robinson, the inside linebacker that was acquired as a free agent formerly of the Miami Dolphins. That guy's a little bit up there in his career, and I think that he's just kind of like a stopgap fill-in type of guy. And so I think they're going to want to bring in a guy that they can develop. Don't forget the Steelers still have a very raw but very talented Mark Robinson there and available. And so the middle linebacker position, in my opinion, is, when you look at it retrospective to what the Steelers have done in the last couple of years at the position, whether it be the tandem of Joe Schobert, Devin Bush, or Devin Bush, Miles Jack, Robert Spillane, I think they're in a better position now. Now, you also have to take into effect that they're going to go into this season with a healthy TJ Watt, with a healthy Cam Hayward, and Larry Ogunjobi, 3 guys in the front that are, main components of this defense that were injured for the majority of last season, and we're dealing with multiple injuries that for instance, TJ Watt took him out for a significant part of the season. And even when he was back, he wasn't the same TJ Watt. I anticipate him, getting healthy, rehabbing, and being the TJ Watt that we expect come the start of the season. Cam Hayward was also dealing with injury as well. And so was Larry Ogunjobi. In fact, he didn't participate in training camp last season very much. He was participating off to the side. When I was out there on Latrobe, I visually saw him just participating in one-on-ones with, one-on-one with coaches and training staff, not really in team development, having a year under his belt and going into a training camp and having the middle linebackers have those guys healthy and in front of them so they can learn from each other. It's going to be great for this defense. And then you have perhaps Monte Casey, Mika Fitzpatrick, Terrelle Edmunds on the back end, Patrick Peterson on one side, and then more than likely a cornerback, maybe perhaps Joey Porter Jr. on the opposite end. But if not, Levi Wallace, who I think, did show up last season towards the second half of the season once TJ Watt came back in and DeMonte Casey was healthy and came back in. He ended up racking in a few picks there. And so for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I think that, as well as they did last season and as well as they finished off, I think they got better. And there might be some bumps and bruises or some speed bumps in the first couple of games, but I don't anticipate those being long and drawn out. I think that, there's a lot of leaders on this defense, a lot of experience. And I think that this defense is going to be one of the top. And I think that those are the moves that are going to need to make to continue to go into that trajectory. Not to say that they can't fill in with some other safety or that Alex HighSmith isn't going to play, this upcoming season if he doesn't get extended. I just feel that, if we get that contract out of the way, you sign Edmunds, that's no longer on their mind. Football is the focus, and getting that 7th Lombardi is the next step. And so, those are my predictions. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Let me know what your prediction is for the next 2 moves for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do they re-sign? Who do they bring in? Let me know. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, ring that notification bell. With that being said, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.